Now, of course, speaking of the Government of National Unity, there have been various stakeholders, civil society and individuals who've been weighing in on what should be prioritized. Hendrick Makaneta, education activist, has meanwhile called on this 7th administration to prioritize the sector. The country has been struggling with the eradication of pit latrines in schools, which has claimed lives of learners. Makaneta joins us now for more on that. Good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. The health professionals said to me yesterday, health should be prioritized. The agricultural sector says agriculture should be prioritized. Others saying foreign policy should be prioritized. Why should education form the apex of the priorities?
Thank you very much indeed, Thabo. You will recall that in 2010, the previous administration, which was then led by former President Jacob Zuma, decided to make education an apex priority of government. And of course, since then, we saw an increase in the budget of the Department of Education. If you look at the allocations that are done by the National Treasury, the Department of Education, of course, gets the biggest chunk. And we think that the incoming Government of National Unity should maintain, education as an apex priority to make sure that, we are able to deal with a wide range of unresolved issues within the terrain of education. Amongst them, we are still faced with the problem of pit latrines in some of the provinces, particularly rural areas in the Limpopo province, as well as the Eastern Cape and Northwest province.
So, I mean, as you put it, the South African government will say we are already spending far more than what the Millennial Development Goals would have set for us to spend, which is at 20%. It's a little bit more than that, even though, of course, with some challenges in the economy, you might have seen decreases and in some aspects, but it's still pretty much far above what is expected of them. What would you want to see them do over and above that?
I think that it is encouraging that the government has spent a lot of money up to so far. But what we would like to see happening is, deadlines. I think that we need new deadlines to deal with, fundamental issues such as pit latrines, as I've said, so that if government can commit, if the Government of National Unity can commit that in the next 24 months, we want to make sure that pit latrines are a thing of the past. I think that that will make us happy as activists in the terrain of education.
So
but that is not the only issue.
Yes, of course. I'm saying already the education infrastructure, which provinces rely on for school infrastructure and things like eradicating pit latrines, has got an allocation of what, 13.7 billion. That is up from last year's 12 billion. Where is this money used?
Where is this money?
Where is it being used, and is it being used effectively?
I think that that's a very key question. We think that government should be able to prioritize all the essentials. We know that crime as well is a big problem. Now that the schools are closed, we know that issues of vandalism occur from time to time, and this often has to force government to reallocate resources which have already been allocated. The issue of if you look at KZN as well, we have seen floods affecting some of the schools as well, where infrastructure was destroyed. And I think that from time to time, maintenance of infrastructure tend to become another area where government has to spend money. But we think that going forward, government should really find a way to collaborate with their communities to make sure that communities can have a sense of ownership of the schools, especially during school holidays. Because people who vandalize schools come from communities. And I think that government has got a duty to collaborate with communities to make sure that our schools remain safe, so that we don't have to spend money on fixing things that have been broken and so on from time to time.
Yeah, we're going to come to the point of fighting crime, but I want us to stay with this a little bit more. The big issue is not the allocation. The big issue is the underspending. It looks like the allocation might be there, but money then tends to go back to Treasury because of underspending. And for that, we could look at, for example, poor planning. We could look at not necessarily having the right kind of capacity to be able to carry out these projects.
Definitely. I think that you are quite right, correct, Thabo. It's not only the Department of Education, but it cuts across other departments as well, where you find that people want to avoid fruitless expenditure, compliance with, all the requirements that have been put forward by the Auditor General and so on. But we think that proper planning is necessary in this case. We know, for example, how many schools still have pit latrines. I think that it should not be difficult. We should be able to plan in advance to make sure that money does not go back, of course, unspent to the department.
So there are those who are saying the government of national unity is a market-friendly arrangement, which is going to see the continuation, for example, of the trend of austerity. So the government is going to be spending less and less in order to deal with the debt and so on and so forth. Do you think this is the way that this government of national unity should go?
Thabo, I think that the government of national unity should first and foremost prioritize our people, particularly poor communities. There is no doubt that in addition to crime, poverty, unemployment, as well as inequality affect our society. Young people are unemployed in their majority, and we think that government should be able to prioritize, the issue of skilling our learners or our young people rather, and of course reskilling some of our graduates as well, because the mainstream economy has got jobs which lead to skills mismatch. We find that there are graduates who have degrees, but unfortunately their skills do not match those that are required by the mainstream economy. And therefore, government must find a way to prioritize this issue, because unemployment is a very serious problem which can also lead to a wide range of other social challenges, such as crime in communities. I mean, if young people are unemployed, it's very easy for them to be recruited into the life of crime, because of they are not doing anything, especially those without skills.
So what sort of skills should we be looking at, or what type of reskilling are you talking about?
Well, of course, you will agree with me when I say that the jobs, most of the jobs that exist today will become obsolete in the near future. And of course, there's a big shortage in other areas, such as data scientists. And I know that there's also a growing fear of mathematics in the country. But in one way or the other, we have to adapt to the fast-changing world of work if we have to get our economy right. Someone was talking about, if you look at faculties of humanities in a wide range of universities, such faculties are always saturated. There's quite a big number of students who are admitted from time to time into such faculties, which actually leads to saturation, because the market will not be able to absorb all the graduates who come from a specific faculty. We really need to find a way to ensure that we look at other fields, particularly those that will help us as we look at the issue of AI, as well as the fourth industrial revolution as well. We cannot afford to move backwards whilst the world is going forward.
So look at these numbers and how, for example, we are currently allocating, might be a little bit outdated because they are looking at 2021, 2022, but I mean, they'll give you a sense of how money is spent, right? If you look at the figures of how the post-schooling sector is funded and those programs are funded. For example, we've got a total revenue of 140.5 billion in 2021-2022. More than 74% of that revenue was available for public universities, which served just below 1.1 million students, while 14.6 billion of the 19 billion allocated to the skills levy institutions, sector education and training authorities, SETAs, and National Skills Fund served only 144,000 workers and unemployed persons in SETA-supported programs. 14.8 billion allocated to technical and vocational and training, so TVET colleges, which served 589,000 students, and 2.2 billion allocated to community education training colleges, the lowest share of the total revenue, serving a fewer number of students, 143,000. What do you make of that allocation and how we are spreading that revenue?
I think that the allocation is quite proper given the number of students who are found, the majority of whom are found in universities. But we must really support the calls that have been made, particularly by the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Mr. Butimana Mela, to say that our students, there's still a perception that if you want a better life, you must go to a university. But of course, the TVET sector as well has got a wide range of skills, which can certainly go a long way to assist our learners or our students rather. And it is for this reason that we think that going forward, the TVET sector should be expanded. We really need more and more students to be absorbed as well in the TVET sector, where they can be able to get a wide range of practical skills that they can use immediately after graduation, as opposed to just the theoretical aspect of universities, where some of the graduates, as I said already, find themselves joining this long queue of unemployment.
Hendrick Makaneta, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on, weighing in also this evening. Education activist there, Hendrick Makaneta.